Somebody told you a story once they'd heard about someone in Arkham had been messing around with mathematics and imagining what if you applied certain non-Euclidean principles.
I'm going to make an experimental attempt at fireballing them.
Can I roll my Dreamlands?
He brings his face horrifically close to you.
My brain skips back to my initial cougar theory.
Would you like to play a game?
I pull out my 38 and I say,
No, A, cougars don't open windows, and B, I've just seen a rat wearing trousers fly through a jelly door, so...
we can do this the easy way or the hard way.
What's your Cthulhu mythos again?
I am Orb, Scourge of the Night Gaunts.
It was the driver he got first.
Probably a cowboy.
But I feel saddest about the maid. Did you find the maid?
Get out here, lads, it's mental.
Where's Aunt Nora?
I'm hers, and she's mine.
I don't want to play no fucking games.
And you can see the kids there, and each of the beds has circles round.
And I kick aside part of the ritual circle.
Do cowboys dream of arresting sheep?
Time to take your head!
I throw the gun at the huge figure in a rage.
I whip my belt off
It's a copy of Mother and Boy Monthly.
and imagine it turning into a lasso.
It's a picture of you and your mother.
I'm going to wake these kids up. I need to get them out of here.
And it's open by the bed of a witch. I think you're gaming with me, aren't you? Do you want to play a game?
It made sense at the time.
No. Why would you do this to me? Why would you abandon me when all I wanted for you was for our love to shine like the fire in the deepest lamps in Mitzivido? No, but you must scorn me and cast me aside, you vile creature. I will become the thing that I feel inside. I will let it free. I will become the dream's inner eye. I will be the Krampus. I will take those disgusting children and I will make them mine. You will never have them. If you do not want me, you cannot have the children. It would be easy to kill them. Instead, I will make them puppets of my kingdom. The slave's life for them. As I have been a slave to you, Melba. If only you could have looked upon me kindly, I would have given you everything. I would have become the greatest of princes of Mitzivido. The power within me was always there, but you chose not to look at me. And so, the time has come. I must feed. I must use those around me, the docile bovine creatures of this world. I reject all belonging. I reject my place in the real, and I will walk between the two realms, the green flame and the white galleon. I will become the demon of the night, and the thing that lurks beneath the water will serve me with his power. I shall channel all that I have learned into the spell. And you will be nothing. Witch, she cannot protect you now with her little books. Her little herbal remedies. Nein. I am the Krampus. I am the spirit of doom.
The Apocalypse Players present Christmas in Kingsport by Oscar Rios. Heavily adapted by Joseph Chance. Starring Dan Wheeler as Detective Inspector Eamon Peacock Moran.
And I come bearing items of power also.
Dominic Allen as Detective Constable Oliver Shakespeare Baines.
Madam, are you in distress? Or is this part of your designs?
Danan MacLeod as Detective Constable Matthew Lefty Eisner.
You don't know me, but this thing, it's obsessed with you. It's kept you trapped here. I'm trying to take the children away.
And Joseph Chance as your festive keeper of the arcane lore. And then, as you're there, this wrist snaps again and kind of shakes.
Egad,
you,
great Scott.
Great Scott, could you give me a sanity check?
This has put me quite in mind of my own ants.
Understandably, I think. It's a New England problem.
Horrifying.
They call it the ratchets, don't they? Yeah, you see, it's a bad case of the ratchet she's got there.
And Fiona always blames it on the Polish immigrants.
Terrible if you have red onions.
That's shockingly a success on my sanity, a 12.
Well,
43.
I mean,
been doing very well. Death by 1,000 cuts.
It's not regular, but you can see sort of winding up aspects of the bones, trying to kind of crack. You get the distinct impression that she's trying to escape. She's trying to break out. Unlike the children, who were sleeping deeply.
Ah, yes, I've had to force myself awake against sleep paralysis before, but never like this.
Sounds like a case of ants in a trance.
You mean aunts in a trance?
all three of you at that point, but I think Eisner above all, become aware of a terrible roar.
Where?
The iron bars to the Florentine room throw open, and the door goes inwards. So the bars go out, but the door goes in, the Florentine door goes in, and a wave of red, thick liquid pours out onto the carpet and across into the hall opposite, and froths and seeps and serpentine patterns begin to form, and then it sinks into the carpet, and you hear the sound of a whip and this sound.
Fuck this.
Who comes into my house?
Who's hearing this? Me?
Well, all three of you are.
Where does it sound like it's coming from?
It sounds like it's coming from that room.
The one opposite me.
So I'm hearing this from above me.
Yeah.
Dom's hearing it from below him.
No, he's actually hearing it from the same level, just further away. But obviously, Eisen's the only one who saw the what he thinks is probably a small wave of blood just came out of that room. Apparently, in the reel.
Yeah.
But again, you've seen weirder things tonight, so I don't think there's any sound loss. I think it's just
Who's in there? Hey, someone fucking answer now. Is that you? Hey, Moran, Baines is down.
Ah, Krampus is in here.
You what?
And a goat-horned demon steps out with a whip and a bag over his shoulder. He wears the remnants of a dinner suit for trousers, and a dinner suit jacket is sort of tied around his massive chest. He's bipedal on goat legs, and his face is horror. Fanged, evil, malign, furious. Could you give me a sanity roll?
Yeah. 96.
Oh dear.
On a
Classic.
51.
Oh. Oof. Narrow escape from a fumble there.
I'm just going to do a double check on what kind of sound loss that might be.
Just a narrow escape.
Oh, 1. You lose 1 sanity.
He was really looking forward to driving you mad.
I know. I search for antlers. I assume I don't see any.
Horns.
Yeah.
2 sweeping back horns. Curved.
My hand goes to the carved statue on my chest. and I feel it underneath my shirt, and I just...
Halt! What is it you are trying to do?
He says with his arms stretched out. He's got his whip, and there's this real rage in his eyes. But you've caught his attention with that move.
You have on you a thing of power, I sense.
So what are you doing, Moran and Baines?
I think if I can find them, I'm running up the stairs because I can tell that there's something, and I'm yelling, Eisner!
Yeah. Well, I think it all feels very real. You are yelling. Yeah. So let's say there was a moment. Well, actually, Moran, just I think instinctively you've probably made some ground. So maybe let's say you're through out of the parlour at the bottom of the stairs before you shout. Do you still want to shout?
No, I've suddenly decided I want to, if you don't mind, I've changed my mind, I don't want to shout. I want to be making up the stairs, but I don't want to announce my arrival.
Yeah. So I think there was maybe a little moment of pause, and then you hear this, what is that? This a thing of power. Baines?
I feel like I need to help this woman. Don't really know how.
Well, she certainly seems to have been reading recently a very fine article regarding yourself. So I can understand your desire to wish to help the poor innocent creature who looks like a witch in torment. That might be scanned, but anyway, yes, I get your picture.
So, I will glance at the copy of the magazine, curious that she was reading about me. But I'm not sure now. I'm not sure if she was reading about me because it doesn't look like she's in any fit state to read anything. I shout up to her, "Madam, are you in distress, or is this part of your designs?"
I think the answer you get is... Could you give me a listen, Rill, as she says it again?
I could make it an extreme success if that makes it any better, but it's definitely a hard.
No, it's a hard. You think it might be break the spell.
Oh, of course. And looking down, I take from my pocket, yes, I do have one, I take from my pocket my handkerchief and I dust away the ritual circle, or I break it at least.
Okay, so you sense before your hand hits it a warding barrier.
Oh.
You begin to understand this stuff all the more intimately having thrown the fireball. And at that point you realise your body is upstairs and you are possibly able to put yourself through this barrier, but it would be incredibly dangerous if you're not attached to your body.
Oh, dash it all, madam. I appear to not be corporeal. Please bear with me one moment as I try and fuse myself back into my physical form. I'll be right back. And then I try and float to my body.
Yeah, nice. Could you give me a power check?
That's a hard success.
Brilliant. So you can give me you don't need to do lucid dreaming for this. You can go back through the house to your body the way you came, effectively. So you've learnt something about that. Gain another one... actually, no. Gain one lucid dreaming and take half of your lucid dreaming now, and that is your Dreamlands knowledge.
Okay.
Including the one, if you so.
Yes. So, what am I putting this as? Lore? Dreamlands?
Yeah.
And that's going to be... So my lucid dreaming is 21, so that half of that would be 10?
So, yeah, and we'll so we'll make it 12. We'll make it 12, because your power is 60, right?
My power is now 61.
Dreamlands Lore 12.
Great.
So you feel yourself going through, and you can see stuff happening as you pass. So you can see the little monkey rat thing bounce away in fear from this enormous demon. But because you're travelling through fast, you don't need to roll sanity for that right now. Also, you're not in the real, so it sort of feels like it's part of the dream world. But you're disturbed by that because he shimmers in a way that you don't understand. You see your colleagues, Eisner. You see Moran on the stairs sneaking up, and you return to your body suddenly very quickly towards the end, and you feel just sort of slotting back in. But it's actually quite a terrifying experience because as the black of your clothes and the silver detailing of those rhinestones and the spurs begin to leave you realise that there is a permanent severance, potentially. These two things. And sinking into your body, you feel initially very uncomfortable.
Ooh.
As if you're not 100% certain you're even in the right body. So could you give me a sanity check for that?
It's going to push him over the edge.
That is a fail.
Might just do that. That is a fail. Okay. So it's only one loss.
We're close.
Okay. But you're up and you're back. Eisner.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So I pull out the wooden figure around my neck, seeing the fear in this self-acclaimed Krampus's eyes, and I take a step forwards, and I sort of just rub its face, and I just say, break the seals. The children have to be let go. You know what this is?
You would dare to command me.
Yeah, I dare to command you. Just the children. You can keep the others.
This is some fragment of the elder gods.
Yeah.
Nothing of me. I wish to have her.
And he reaches one of his massive hands out, and the bird cage comes sort of swinging out, floats into the room, and begins to form into a woman. The bird begins to become the heart. And Moran, you can see this around the corner. Baines, I think you can see it too because you're coming down the stairs. But I'm imagining if at any time you want to leap in or fire a gun, just say, I'm going to interrupt and fire it, whatever,
Yeah.
But this the cage itself begins to become this woman, this beautiful white-robed woman with strawberry blonde hair in lovely, beautiful curls. And she's the flapper that you saw in your dream.
Oh, yeah.
She's hanging in midair, sort of slightly floating, a little bit like the witch for you, Baines, but different. She's not fighting it. She's just in this sort of state of almost kind of drunken awareness.
I mean, if I'm able to, in that moment, all I want to say is, I want to try and ignore this. Maybe it's a sanity roll to see if I can ignore it.
No,
I mean,
you can.
Yeah,
you can
I
press
want
on
to say,
with the task.
I don't care about that. You can have the woman. I want the kids. We gotta let them go. And I've still got my shotgun cocked under my arm, and I'm holding this wooden figure out towards him. And I say, this may only be a fragment of the old ones, but it's a fragment nonetheless. I know a dream is coming from the deep, from the ocean. I know more than you know. Give me the children.
Could you give me it's either a fast talk or a persuade, or it's acting.
Yeah. Let me see what my best thing is. It's probably not. Actually, I think I'll go acting because it's more in character. I think he's doing his best acting. Yeah,
and he is staying very.
Because he doesn't really. I have no idea what's happening.
He's aware
really.
that he's in the performance.
I just have a general sense of things, and I'm trying to convince this thing that's more powerful. I'll roll acting.
Can I make an offer?
Oh yeah.
At that moment, while he's rolling, because it might affect him.
Yeah, please do.
I would like to come up the stairs, holding the book in my hand, and I've ripped my St. Christopher from my neck, and I'm walking up the stairs holding the St. Christopher and the book, and I would like to also do an acting role, and just picking up on what Baines has said, and I'd like to yell out, and I come bearing items of power also.
Oh wow!
And I'll roll my acting.
Yeah. So we've got 2 acting rolls going. Since all this is going on, Baines, are you getting in on the act, or are you going to...
I feel like I have to get to this woman. I feel duty-bound. I said I'd be back. And my word is my bond.
Yeah.
So I shall run straight past them, If need be.
Oh, actually, because I was going to say, hang on, have I got you coming the right way? Yeah, but yes, your physical body. So obviously there is the door of fire, so you can see that. But you could run straight between them.
I shall.
Yeah. So Bane takes this opportunity to dash through. Successes of acting. We'll start with you, Eisner.
I want to push mine, if it's possible.
Me too.
This could be a trap.
Well, I tell you what,
I've been in that show.
I think the reason why you both have to push is
the broken
you've been in
focus.
that show, haven't we all,
I've
darling?
seen Dan Wheeler push an acting role on live on stage
Oh, mate.
every night.
I am really excited because this will be over in 10 minutes, and it could be.
I have seen Dan Wheeler.
Baines
pushes
might
that
get
dude
away
off.
with it, but it could all survive. It really does hang now on a couple of rolls.
I think
all my acting roles
He
are
dashes through this
Never
black
fumbled them.
figure of night dashes through,
it breaks the focus.
and then you realise it's Baines,
Yeah.
and it breaks the focus, and you see this thing, the Krampus's face, or perhaps is it Gunther?
Well.
Tracks across, and then he swings back to you, and he snarls like a true animal.
And I push my roll by taking another step forward, showing the wooden thing, and turning to Moran and saying, "See, I have allies here. We have more allies than you know. Listen to us."
and I push my role by going into Irish and speak. And I'm really sorry, I'm not going to be able to do this, but
No, we'll
I
imagine
have to
that.
I'll do it in post.
Irish.
I'll record it for you.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
In Irish, I start reciting one of the old stories that my mother used to tell me, and I believe it might have been the story of the Danann.
The Tour de Dan.
Definitely.
That's right. And I just start reciting it, just as words are words of power. It's not relevant to anything, but it's just the first thing.
Probably something to do with the defeat of the Firbolg, as the King Nuada returns with a silver arm.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
That's it. And I go into like full lyrical Irish and start.
Yeah.
My eyes take on this.
I love it.
The fire that my mother used to have when she told me these stories, and I try to embody that big, what's his name, Byron Bassett, who I
Brendan Gleeson.
saw passing through Boston one
nice,
day.
yeah.
And I'm going to roll my push roll.
Let's have some pushed rolls.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 16 on my 40 acting.
Not so good from this end, I'm afraid. It's a 93.
Not a fumble.
Almost a fumble.
I might even spend some luck to make it an extreme if you think it would be worth it.
I don't think you can on a push.
Oh, no, you can't. But, well, it's a hard, so...
What you definitely do is you force him to take a step back, and his ferocity changes. And as his ferocity changes, you see that his face begins to resemble much more of a human expression. The transformation is immediate, and yet somehow you wouldn't be able to sort of say, "Oh, it is the opposite of a bad piece of computer generated imagery." It is a sort of beautifully rendered drawing transforming. And that also buys enough opportunity for Baines gets to the door where the monkey rat, no-faced clown cartoon hops around the edges of the door going, oh, you can help. All you have to do is douse the fire.
Oh dear.
He undoes his fly.
I might have to.
I mean, I imagine the only liquids we have between us are alcoholic, which probably won't work to our advantage.
Well, I tell you what, you can either give me...
I've got the eggnog, which may not have alcohol in.
It may not.
How bad is the whole door is on fire? Is it?
Yes, and yet it never burns away. It's like that scene in Backdraft,
Yeah.
licking up,
A wave.
and licking down, and then sweeping around. It's been like that the whole time. Tell you what is your lucid dreaming and your dreamlands combined?
That would be 33.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Well, what I was going to say is I might take my coat off and flap it to see if it affects the flames in any way, or if they just carry on. If it can be beaten down.
Like a matador.
As you're doing that, I think it's your role, because you see that it's like an image connecting with a distant plane. Some flaps do seem to alter maybe a second after, and then you begin to think maybe that one went a second before. It seems to be it's like a not connecting temporal space.
Christ.
And yet there is some connection with the real.
Well, I failed that roll. I did a 76 on a 33, so I'm going to push it.
Mm-hmm. Lots of pushing going on.
By running straight at the door.
Sweet Mother of God.
And I think to myself,
Yes.
the distinction between real and dreamlands is one that I have made up. And so there's no reason that the skills I've learned in the dreamlands can't apply here. There's a door on fire that doesn't burn away. So in theory, the same logic should prevail, right? I should be able to do anything.
This is either going to be Neo in the Matrix Revolutions, or it's going to be the general in The Men Who Stare at Goats trying to run up walls so there's particles can pass through them. It could go either way. I've no idea.
Yeah.
Same level of confidence. Yeah.
I look at the door and say, there is no flaming door. Right. Felt amazing for a moment because one of the dice is 00, but the other one is 60, so that's a fail.
Okay, yeah, right. So you run at this thing, and it just before you hit it and hit it hard, you do think, there was something about the way the effect of the waving on the flames was shimmering almost, a bit like the Krampus shimmered as you passed over him. The way that he is engaging with the real seems to be very similar. And maybe that just insight slightly distracts you and you're not quite in the moment. You feel your left hand goes through the door and the flames. But with that comes a fear and a revelation of, but where would that end? What are the limits for me anymore? I don't understand. And then you hit it, and your hand gets spat out in a violent, sort of like a wrist-breaking move.
Ooh.
So could you give me a strength test?
Oh, so close. 40 on a 45, a narrow success.
Oh, very good. So it really hurts, but you get the distinct sense that there's almost an intelligence behind this. That something's tried to grab you and snap you, but then your hand comes out of it. But you can sort of see fire licking over you, and it isn't hurting you. And it's more so than the last time where you put your hand in confidently, and it didn't get you for those seconds. Now, it's actually on you, but it isn't burning you. And I'll come back to you. So, Moran, you see that Eisner is holding him, and they start to have a conversation. But in that moment, you've got the drop. You've just got the edge because yours didn't work.
Yeah.
So you're aware that you didn't quite hold him, and he's no longer focused on you. But that does also mean he's taken his eye off you.
Fine. Is there not a consequence to my failed push?
Well, there is, which is to do with how much trouble Eisner's in.
Oh dear. Oh god. Okay.
Cheers, man.
Great.
But there's also an advantage to that, which is that you now have an agency. This beautiful girl, sort of, her eyes loll open, and she looks at you, and you think you hear the words, "The children," and then her eyes loll shut, and she sort of sinks down.
So is this creature on the sort of landing of the stairs?
So you are all, distressingly, you are all in the stair hall.
Gotcha.
Which is the interconnecting corridor. I mean, it's a good 6 feet across. Probably more like 8 feet, actually. And so you've got the stairs going down, and you've got the stairs going up. You've got the little vestibule area, which leads to the fire door, And you've got the blood-soaked carpet that leads towards bedrooms 2 and 3.
Which of the 2 bedrooms, the one with the paradise, the bird of paradise, and the room that the Krampus came out of, which had that Florentine door, they are doors 2 and 3, respectively.
But can I get past this creature in any direction? Can I reach, for example, the bedrooms with the bloodstained carpet, or could I reach the woman?
You could try and reach that. Yeah, you could definitely try and reach the woman. You're beginning to become slightly aware that the woman might not be entirely her physical reality.
No. Well, I'm beginning to be unsure about if any of it is beginning. I mean, I've got a good mind to turn around, go down the stairs, walk out the door, get in my car and go home.
Yeah.
Would also be an incredibly strong move. And might I perhaps cruelly suggest, not entirely out of character, but obviously you are conscious that you can almost hear the chief saying, "This is your report."
I can hear him saying that, and I can hear myself saying, "But Chief, it was Christmas Eve." Christmas Eve, for Christ's sake.
In the interest of all of our actual physical reality sanities, I'm going to ask for a decision. You could try and make a dash for that room.
Can I do an idea roll?
Try and help with... Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard success on my idea roll. Tell me what to do.
I love that.
Well, I think in the moment that you've just stopped, because all of this is happening at great speed, the Irish is ringing in your ears, and the truth that you found there felt better than the idea of running away to write another report about what's probably going to be 2 cops in an asylum, possibly one of them dead. You're not sure. This doesn't look like this is going to end very well.
No.
You could try and do something with your St. Christopher and your book. You feel the energy in this room is odd, and maybe there's something you could try.
Yeah, but what?
Fibra. Try combining items.
I'd like to...
I tell you what, your thumb is in the book, and you open the book and you look at this random group of words in the book as a conversation is happening.
Yeah.
And you see the word... Roll your luck for me.
Still not bad. Oh, wow. That's a 0-2.
You see the words, on banishment and entering into the realm of the real, you must always ground yourself with an item of power, which could not more dovetail with the conversation that Eisner and the thing seems to be having.
Mm-hmm.
You will make me do what you wish? No,
Yeah, I will.
petty little man.
Yeah, I'll make you do.
Give me the woman, give me the woman.
You can have the woman.
And you can have the children.
Deal.
Take the woman and I will have the children.
No, the other way around. You have the woman, I take the children.
Then wake her and tell her to love me.
Who? Nora? That's who you...
He laughs, and it starts off like a kind of bad theatrical laugh like that, and then it begins to become like this hellhound bark. And all 3 of you at that point have to cover your ears using... And then the barking stops, and he goes,
No, speak with her.
and then he pulls her over using... Actually, he whips her round the waist, and he pulls her over to you, almost like the whip is rigid, and her eyes sort of, they throw open in pain, and she goes, What is it? Who are you?
Would it take an idea roll to realise from the scraps? Because I've read one through totally. Do I sort of have an inkling of who this is? This female figure? Would that be an idea roll?
You're pretty sure it's the writer of the journal.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think, but I don't know her name, do I? Or do I?
Give me a Dreamlands roll with a bonus die.
Fuck it, it'll do. Here we go. That's... Where's my Dreamland? Because that might be totally out. It's a 13. The Dream Lore.
Yeah, dream law.
Swim, throw, track, dream law. 23. 13 on a 23.
Aced it. Her name is Melba.
Melba.
It comes to you in a flash. That was the name in the dream.
I see an image of a peach, and then
Piece of toast.
I say Melba.
Her hair is like golden strawberry peaches.
Yeah.
She instantly becomes more focused and says, What is the children, are they safe? Are they safe?
Melba, I'm trying to make sure they're safe. My name is Matthew, you don't know me. But this thing, it's obsessed with you, it's kept you trapped here. I'm trying to take the children away.
It becomes clear that he doesn't like the way you are talking about him by the fact that he grabs you by the neck and pushes you against the wall.
Yeah, that'd probably do it. I've had that from bouncers in Western Superman.
Oh, yeah. Could you give me a constitution check?
Oh, please, may I? Let's have a look. Okay. 53 on a 55 constitution, so only just a success. But a success.
You are not injured, but you are in pain. And I think that's why you didn't get a dodge, was because of the failed push. I mean, I've been a bit hard on you there, sort of him just grabbing you and you not having the option to either fight back or dodge, but I think that is the consequence of Moran was a distraction for you perhaps as well, and of course Melba, and it's just left you, if you see what I mean, it's left you slightly blindsided and he just grabs you. So that's, I know I've been a bit harsh with you there, but I think that's the consequence of the failed push, okay?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Love is not obsession.
I'll say.
Fury is real.
I
will stop speaking in aphorisms when I get what I want.
I believe you. Hey, Melba, listen, this fella here, he seems to, he says he's in love with you. All I want to do is take the children from the house. Can you let him know that that's okay? Can you somehow let him know?
You want me to go with him?
I don't want you to do anything you don't want to do. I'm just worried about the children.
Baines, can you give me a power check? Moran, can you give me a constitution check?
That's an 82 on my 61. That's a fail.
I passed my constitution check.
Right, yeah. You feel your left hand begin to wither, and you raise it up before you, and you can see it sort of turning slightly ashen and grey.
Oh dear.
And then it becomes very weak, and you start to lose sensation of feeling in it, and it seems to be creeping up your arm, and you realise it seems to go two ways for dreaming.
In that case, I'm going to try and be quick, and with my other hand try and just turn the doorknob and open the door.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Could you give me a constitution check? And what was your constitution check like, Moran?
That was a regular success.
Regular says, good. You fight off the need for the booze. You feel this St. Christopher tighten your palm. The book seems to say that there's binding. You can do some kind of binding using an item of power. And on the other page, you see the word Zingara. And then at the bottom of the page, it says Mitsivida.
Oh, yeah.
Constitution check, Baines?
An extreme success, a 5 on a 45.
Nice. You take 4 hit points of damage.
Bloody hell.
Turning the handle, fire licks up your arm. You feel the intense block on it. You begin to burn, and then you push through, and immediately the flames go out. And the monkey thing rushes through. There's a sitting room before you which is absolutely ransacked. Papers everywhere, cushions destroyed, claw marks on the wall, blood on the floor. You think you see a human hand. Looks like a woman's.
Now, technically, I've got 9 hit points in total. 4, if you round down half, would be half my hit points, right?
But wouldn't it have to be your total?
That's what I mean.
You only lost one.
My total is 9.
Yeah. So, no, I wouldn't. That's not a major wound.
Okay, good. In that case, I quickly grab my handkerchief and start trying to rub the circle out.
Right, so you have to dash through to the bedroom. So you dash through to the room, and you can see the physical is the same as the dream. You know, it's like
she's floating in the air.
She's floating in the air.
Fucking hell.
And she's in a nightdress, and there's her long hair, and she's sort of just trying to break her way out of it. And there's the magazine, and there's the page as you read it. It's
And Lorraine? Oh, no. I don't know what I was thinking.
So you get to it, and you realise it's like a pillar of steel. You can't touch the stuff. There's some kind of binding spell. Now, at that point, Eisner, are you going to do anything else in terms of just as Moran is about?
I'm pinned to the wall, right?
About to do? Yeah, he's got you up by one hand.
I'm thinking of.
You've still got the shotgun. You've still got the shotgun.
I know, and it's cooked under my shoulder still.
Yeah,
I think I've got enough sense of.
Oh yeah. You're not. You're not out.
And I've been aware of the fact that I could go for that, but I don't know. I think Peach Melba's not helping me too much. Princess Peach is.
Her head lolls, and she goes, "Fine, I'll go with him. Just keep the children safe."
At which point, I think maybe her resignation reminds me of Utex Biqua when I saw her dealing with the loss of one of her family members, sort of praying to her gods silently. And I say, I'll go with you. Leave her here as well. I'll go with you. I'm more powerful. Take me instead.
His tongue comes out and starts to kind of reach up to your face, and it starts to lick along one side. And he tastes you and he goes, "Ah,
Yes. Yeah, powerful.
Yeah.
You might be.
Yeah.
and then his head whips over to Moran and says,
What are you doing?
Standing there without a clue of what to do, I drop the book and I run at him with my shillelagh and I thrash it. I lash at him with my I just go for him with my shillelagh and I say, "I don't understand this fucking book. All fucking nonsense, fucking bullshit. Should be fucking Baines reading this book." And I'm lashing at him, and at the same time I'm trying to shove the St. Christopher into his mouth. But I'm hammering him with the shillelagh.
Amazing.
"Okay, it's a brilliant ambush maneuver. So I'm going to say that you do go first." Let me just check his stats again. This is good. And then, could you give me a swing? And I said D6. Of course it isn't D6. It's D8 plus 1 because it's got the spike, right? It's an absolute beaut, this beast.
It's a regular success.
It's a proper blackthorn.
But that would be a standard nightstick, would be a D8, wouldn't it?
Don't know.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, shillelagh's got more reach. It's got more heft.
You also got a spike on it, so I'm going to give it... So it's D8 plus 1 plus damage bonus.
Wow. D8 plus 1 plus damage bonus. Yeah. Well, do you want me to...
It's a brute.
I'd do a human in
I've done a regular success with it.
That's all.
It's a killer. Perfect. Where do you strike him? On the head?
Fuck knows, I'm not really looking.
You're not really aiming, are you?
You can probably see he's pinned me to the wall by my throat.
Yeah, maybe his sort of shoulder.
I think because he's spun round. I think you're just going straight through the shoulder. It's the classic body blow. So give us your D8.
The total is 5.
5 off that. Oh, that is sad.
A 2 plus a 2 plus a 1.
Oh, tragic. 5. Good though. So you gouge a great cut in him, and really black blood seeps out, and he screams. But because it was an ambush, I'm not going to give him a brawl back for that. Perhaps slightly generously, but let's go down. Let's go down in fury. If we're going to go down at all, which we aren't. Nothing's going down.
I know.
So dexterity order. Well, except Baines isn't really in the room, so I think Baines will go with you last, if that's right, which is probably good. So who's faster?
70.
Eisner's 70.
I'm only 50.
50, and he is... oh, yeah, okay, nice. So 70, you've got the drop on him.
Right.
He looks shocked and horrified and screams, and his head goes back, as much as a bipedal 8-foot Krampus can.
Yeah.
With terrifying curved horns.
Do I see in that moment, I know I don't have time to analyse, but does it look like he's been caused genuine physical pain?
Yeah, he's reacted like a person and animal in pain.
In which case, I just bring my shotgun up from under my armpit where it's been tucked, and I just want to unload both barrels under his chin as he rears back.
Yeah, nice.
I want to go straight for that. Try and pop his fucking head. Yeah. Is that
So, obviously, if you were aiming to be that awesome, that would cost you the whole round, which I wouldn't advise. So, that's what you want to do. Let's see how...
I don't think... to be fair, I've not been aiming, but I have had it at least steadied under my shoulder the whole time.
Yeah.
So maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think at that moment where he rears back, I just try and unload both barrels underneath.
But it gets a bonus die because this is what it's designed for. So
sure.
You get a bonus die anyway.
So is that a rifle, shotgun?
On both barrels. Shotgun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is... Your shotgun is...
My shotgun is 66, so it's pretty good. Oh, fuck off. Well, neither of those landed.
Missed with both.
7 is my first one.
Oh, they didn't... 7? 0-7.
Yeah.
The dice... I'm terrified. Your dice didn't land.
I just got 2...
They were
stay
in midair.
No, as in, I rolled them and they both bounced back into the tray and landed mid-numbers, so, like, it was impossible to tell. But I just rolled, even more remarkably, 2 0-7s in a row to see if I got a as if I'd get a better one.
Right, well, so they're your 2 shots, then.
Well, that's a relief, because I think maybe that means you didn't hit me.
Yeah, let's fucking hope so.
Is that fair?
Unless you're the real villain of the piece.
Let's have a luck check from Moran.
I rolled a 91.
Okay. So, damage is 3d6, right?
Yeah, my 12-gauge shotgun sawed off.
But it's sawn off, Dom, so isn't it even more sawn off at point-blank
I
range?
can't remember off the top of my head.
It says, on my sheet, it says
Probably is.
4d6.
But reduced range.
Yeah, it's 46.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this could make a huge...
Because I'm right by it as well.
Yeah.
I only have 1d6, so I'm afraid we're going to have to add this up. But, 6. 1.
Ooh.
4.
What a roller coaster.
3. So a 6,
That's 14 in 1.
14.
a 1,
Yeah.
a 4 and a 3.
next.
Yeah.
So that's just one round.
Oh, yeah.
That's one
Yeah.
barrel.
Double barrel sawed off shotgun. So second,
Have you got that in your head, that number? Because
You
my
just-
maths is terrible.
you just did 14 points
14,
of damage.
right?
Yeah, okay, great.
Shillelagh did 5, that's 19.
1. 5. 1. 2.
Oh my god! Okay. So basically, you wanted to kind of slide it under his chin, and with the expertise of that shot, you effectively do, right?
Yeah.
You remove his lower jaw. It flies off, hits the ceiling.
Oh.
A bit of brain pan comes out, and one of the horns goes spinning up into the air because it was shot upwards. The shot going that way. How tall is Moran? He's a 6-footer, isn't he?
6 foot.
Yeah. I'm going to say that you take 2 hit points of damage from bone fragments and shot flying out.
Yeah. My bad. But could have been worse.
And you sort of you were staggering back, but you still just kind of pound in with the St. Christopher into his chest, and you get the steaming mark. This kind of flesh starts to burn, and you're hearing this howling, and then bits of this guy's head are falling off, and you begin to sort of wonder whether there's a person inside, and this is all just a kind of make believe. And you hear a voice going, "Oh, we're having some fun now," and then chunks of the thing just start to fall away, but it's eerie because above it you can hear the crying of children, voices getting further and further away.
No. Not further and further.
And the woman herself begins to fade, and she does seemingly turn back to this beautiful bird of paradise, but then that just turns to sort of ash and feathers. Now, you've seen this before, Moran, and you realise that it's dream coming to crumbling dust. And again, you see bits of offal and some nails and some pines and some just... It's almost as if it's all been constructed out of just crap, but the same earth, pine needles, some nails and some screws.
Jesus.
It's all sort of enchanted muck. And it all just starts to fall away. But Krampus is real, and there's like clumps of bits of him just falling off and falling down. And the world changes. You feel, Baines, most of all, as this cylinder of steel begins to drop. And you can see this witch woman aunt beginning to fall to the floor, and you're just there to catch her. Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can get close.
And this the creature sort of hops back towards her and then goes under the bed and goes, "Oh, maybe see you later. Who knows?" And then sort of skitters under the bed, and she just turns to you in this sort of wrecked form and goes, "Please don't let them see me like this. I can help you."
I roll her in the duvet.
Like mother.
And you call for your mother. No, you don't call for your mother. But I think in that moment, as you roll her in the duvet, Baines, outside in this dreadful hallway, the remnants of Krampus are falling into offal and filth, but also chunks of him, like proper meaty chunks of an actual thing. It's like a mad commingling of dream and reality, and it's enough to trigger... I think it's a sort of brief fugue state in Moran. He's looking, and he's seeing a myriad pageant of sins going past his eyes. And at the same time, Eisner is seeing this bird of paradise sort of wildly flying around, trying to escape and just drifting away into some glimmering echo of the gold light on the water down at the docks. And you two begin to feel the hysteria rise, where I think Moran has gone he's like this hulking brute, burning with anger and frustration and brutality and breathing hard, but he's mesmerized. You're desperate. You're chasing around for something to change. I think you probably are going to go and look for the kids, I suspect, even though it would be kind of logical to go to Melba's door first, this paradisal door opposite the Florentine one, which you're so close to. And there is definitely a draw there, I think, from the way you were with her. I think there's a definite connection. But it's the kids that was that constant call for you. And as you're running up the stairs, all of you, Baines, I think down below, you find yourself weeping as you roll this woman into the bed. You do think of your mother, and you do think of your aunts, and you think of all of the women who do so much and are not recognised for it, and work tirelessly away in the background, and you feel this. If you had the words, you'd be able to describe it as some sort of terrifying power within you well, not the words, you do have the words, but if you had the terms of a sort of the yin and the yang, the male and the female within you, fighting for loyalty to both sides, and it makes you weep. And perhaps, dare I suggest, you find yourself whispering fragments of the Omar Khayyam, maybe that refrain, "Wake, I'm awake," is on your lips. I'm awake. Even though you're bundling her into the bed. But you all hear this siren, and it cuts through the madness, and you realise that it is a sort of madness has finally crept over all of you from the effect of the house. And the siren cuts through, and with it you realise that there are beat cops coming in. You outrank them, and it's just enough to bring you all back to your senses, and you go into the elite movements of detectives, making sure that a crime scene is more understandable, making sure that the report is writable, and it's that routine that brings you back into the sane world. Finally, totally into the sane world of the real. But I think we may need an epilogue.
I've just got to check.
Yes.
I assume I assume as a player, if I were to go back up to the children's room after this denouement,
Yeah, they're gone. Oh, yeah.
they're gone.
They're not dead.
No.
They're physically gone.
Which Eisner wouldn't understand. And which Dannon doesn't understand. No, Dannon does sort of understand, but Eisner, I think, it's going to take a while for him to...
But yeah, that was the sound of the children screaming.
That's what I thought, yeah. Oh, God, horrible.
You do find Melba asleep in the bed, and she's so deeply asleep that no one can rouse her, and she has to be taken to the hospital. And there may or may not be a way of waking her.
Yeah. I think certainly for Eisner, if that's the case, because of that last moment where her forlorn face, where she almost succumbed, it almost seemed like she was saying, "You want me to go with him?" I mean, she did say that. It almost seemed like she was giving in for someone else's sake, and I saw that forlorn face that Utax Piqua I'd seen in her before. I think I'm at Melba's bedside quite often as she recovers. But that's another story for another time, perhaps.
The mini coda would be you're all stood at the docks by that glimmering golden... I mean, just the shadow of a man, Moran, can't talk. It's just like there's a fag hanging out of his mouth. Somebody's given him his whiskey and he's 3/4 of the way through it. Somehow he's still standing. But I think Baines might turn to Eisner. And you have a very strong feeling, Baines, that those children are now physically in the Dreamlands.
Yeah, Eisner. That shit we saw, that was...
You're Eisner.
Yeah, I'm looking at myself in the reflection over the banister of the docks. And I say, oh, you're there as well. Hey, Baines.
How much sanity did you lose? You didn't lose as much as me.
I didn't know.
Tell him that.
I've had a bit of Moran's brew. Here, listen. There were kids in that house. What do you think? They were there. Told me they weren't.
I put my hand on his shoulder and my withered left hand on his shoulder, and I say, well, now they're somewhere else. A sort of never land, full of flying, faceless bat things, and a temple of green flame holding back the abyssal god.
I sort of choke myself off from vomiting, and I sort of like pull his withered hand off my shoulder, and I move over to Moran and say, hey Moran, you got enough left for a snifter?
I hand him the bottle. I finished my hip flask, so this is now the bottle of the cheap stuff.
Yeah.
And I just say, take the bottle. I'm going home. It's fucking Christmas Eve.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Hey, listen, we went through something tonight, but we'll figure it out. We gotta figure it out. We can't let the innocents. And I stop talking, and I look over the bridge again to see if I can see my reflection. I can't, because the light's gone. Maybe the clouds moved over the moon, and I take a swig of the whiskey and hand it back, and I say, anyway, I'm going on. Merry Christmas, both of you.
Once they've both left, and I'm stood there looking at the water, I say, as if they're still there, there's something out there under the water, dreaming stronger than we could imagine. And then I climb up onto the onto the balustrade, and I think about trying to levitate again. And maybe if they're keen-eared, they'll hear a soft splash.
Wow.
Nice.
And no doubt you'll make your report, but it's too late for that now. That was Christmas in Kingsport.
Somehow, In the wee hours of Christmas morning, sparrows fart, my old da would say, I find myself standing on my own doorstep, hand inches from the doorknob, half expecting it to be frozen solid. But the acrid taste of Blackbush whiskey at the back of my mouth, and the woolly feeling of a hangover just getting started, tells me that was all just a drunken nightmare. Wasn't it? If it was, then why am I so damn tired? Dog tired, and the bones of me ache. My body tells a tale. But what I saw, what all of us saw, what Shakespeare Baines says he did in the sky up there above the old Belvedere house, none of us will ever be the same again. Kingsport will never be the same again neither. And I tried to picture myself sat behind the chief's desk, like I've done so many times. But I can't. I can't, knowing what creatures may lurk on the other side of any door, or beyond the veil of a dream. And for a moment there, I think of turning on my heel and leaving here with only the clothes on me back, finding Lucy and hightailing it out of here, never looking back. New York, Chicago, maybe even out west. I'd wager they have 1,000 uses for hard men with a kind of flexible morality. But then I catch a glimpse through the window of the tree lit up and stockings hung by the chimney with such care. All Elsa's work, of course. Elsa is a saint, a real saint. And I think of Rowley waking in a few hours to rip his stocking open, Grania feeling each and every present to work out what it is, rushing outside to look for reindeer footprints in the snow on the roof. Footprints on the roof. Maybe I can sneak in without waking him. Get a couple of hours kip before the chaos of Christmas Day begins. And then some words come to me. Must be from school days. That or me old da, the poet. Words from that other Shakespeare. To sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. There's the rub.
Of course, it was a pa that saved me, really. The ox of a man. But I swear she had been there that night on the beach. My wife, Ataxapeaxwa, my saviour. Best years of my life on that island. What she taught me, unreal. Literally, maybe. Dreams. Not always yours, but always yours in the moment. Borrowed, but earned. But that was the surface anyway. That was the dark waves with the oil spill fire licking over them, the spray gusting, the sailors burning. Underneath that, there was the carcass of the ship, settled now. Those gashes still in the hull, but knitted back together in time, scar tissue made from coral. Coral made from what? Something too small to see. Still there, though, and big enough to cover the huge wounds of the past. Cover them and protect them, preserve them somehow. In our talks together, she would just sometimes allude to something deeper that even she did not fully understand. And yet she spoke of those who walked in Kingsport. Those who walked but who wore masks. She seemed afraid sometimes of these walkers, of the church they emanated from, of Central Hill. It was like a stranger describing your hometown, comforting and yet terrifying, but Ataxapeaxwa was the opposite of a stranger. You know? Well, until she left. Taken by a fever. The whole island in mourning. And then I had to return to a town which bore a greater resemblance to the dream of a stranger than to the place I'd grown up. And I kept looking back. However many times I walked those streets, back over my shoulder, even just walking to the shops for a pack of smokes, looking for those masked folks that she'd talked about, those masked folks walking, the masked folks from the church on Central Hill, and although I never saw them, I sensed they were there, and if they were not, they would be soon. Ataxapeaxwa was not of the surface, not of the dark waves, the petrol immolations, the gulls, but neither was she of the white ships, and neither were they. The only thing that keeps me looking now, that keeps me searching those empty faces in the streets, is that tale of the beneath that's lower than beneath. That thing she spoke of with fear and awe. That deep thing. Because the deep thing, the huge thing, is dreaming again, is rising. I can feel it. I felt it ever since I began dreaming of Ataxapeaxwa again. Ever since she began not speaking to me, but seeing me in dreams once again. Not long ago now. And in her eyes, she tells me that the dreamer beneath the ocean is coming to the surface. I slid my hand into my shirt and caressed that smooth figurine, run my fingertips over its familiar grooves. The arms and legs of the tiny man, his torso, his elongated face, antlers, her knife marks, her grooves, her memories, our dreams. And I wait for it to arrive.